Elizabeth, this is Dennis Clark, and the instructor, and I'm going to review your swing video so that we can get you started off on a better foot here with golf. And in a very general sense, what I tried to do was teach you that the arms swing the club. And to facilitate that, we have to get our arms in a little closer to our body. We can't lean over this far and stand that far away from it, or you're going to move your body to facilitate the body swing. Do you see what I mean? The setup has so much to do with how we go about this. So one of the things that we noticed in the video here is as you came down into your position where you're attempting to hit the ball, we call that impact. It varies greatly from where you started, and even the start was too far. Now it's much too far. So the ideal place for your hands when we get to the point where we're playing a little better golf would be right under your shoulders. This motion out here will hit outside the ball quite often. So you see where your club is. Take a close look at where the club is in relation to the ball there. That's where most of the time you miss it. It isn't that you miss the ball on top or over the ball. It's you miss outside the ball. And that's really common for new players. So what we want to do is to feel like when we go back, we have a line here. Let's make this a bigger screen. So we're going to focus on the down screen here. Or down line view, I mean. So we have a line here. We're going to call this the line of flight, the target line, for lack of a better term. This is the area where your swing needs to happen. The whole swing happens in here. Nothing ever should get outside that line. Okay? What you're doing is very typical of what new players do. Tend to get the golf club out too far outside their hands, and then their body moves it out even further. So where this club should be now is I'll show you where it should be. And toward the end of the morning, you were starting to get a feel for this. So I'm assuming that we can pick right up with that tomorrow. So she's into her backswing, and the club is already on this side of her hands. Do you see how the club is still way outside of your hands, and your hands are about belt high here, like hers are? If I actually brought hers up to about where yours are, the club would be a lot inside. So if you watch the direction of her takeaway here, it's toward her. It's toward this angle here. That's what we call the inside. Now, the reverse order is what I'm going to try to help you with this week. Her body's taking it back. If you watch, her shoulders are rotating. Look at her upper body rotate. And then her arms fall down. And she swings the club down. Basically, what you're doing is taking it back with your arms and then leading it down with your body. So we're going to gradually deal with this a little at a time so that you can start to feel like you have control over the club and the club's not controlling you, so to speak, okay? So it's going to go, we want to get it way inside, way inside. We want to get the arms back here if we can. And we're going to set the wrist really nice and early. See how your wrists are pretty well cocked right now? We want to do that much earlier in your swing so that the club comes in this way and up that way. So we set the wrist. Now, when you go down, watch what your body's doing. It's diving down and out. It's diving down and out. So if the ball were, up in the air here, and that swing would be effective. But in golf, it's always going to be on the ground. So we have to learn to uncock the wrist as if the ball was in here. We have to snap the wrist straight down. So much will change for you in your golf when you feel your wrist and your hands beginning to swing the club. But right now, if we watch it in slow motion, you can see, well, I'll do it like this. And you can see where you are here, and then where you've moved out to there. Okay, so I want you to almost feel like the only thing your body is going to do is turn in the backswing, and then from there it's all wrist cock and snap your wrist down at the ball and not out. And as I said, a couple of the hits that you had, particularly the ones with your driver, were really, really good. So we'll make it more of an occasion where you can hit the ball, as opposed to going about it in the outside way and sometimes hitting it and sometimes not. Whereas if it goes more up and down and you cock the wrist and snap them, cock the wrist and snap them, just try to get the picture of the hammer and the carpenter I was talking about banging a nail. Hinge and snap, hinge and snap. And we eliminate all this extra body motion. You'll have so much more control over the club. Great exercise to do for golf is little hand exercises. Take a rubber ball and squeeze it. I keep one in my car, keep one in my house, and I'm always squeezing it to keep my wrist and my hand strong so I can feel the snap in them. And take little 2-pound weights and do little motions with them, but you have to get the body turned going back. That's the only thing that we want to work on, is teach you that if we turn our back to the target, your chest, for example, would be facing the camera where the camera is right now. And I'm going to show you another one. We'll use like that. Shoulders completely turned back to the target, front to the back here. Then when you get there, you kind of feel like you stay there, and this part just snaps down. Now the camera's on a tripod here behind her. She's going to turn her chest to face the camera and her back to the target. That will be, even though that might seem to be extreme or professional, some degree of that has to be some degree of that has to be internalized in your feeling of playing golf, because from where you are here, it's going to be very difficult to get to the ball with no shoulder turn and the arms just kind of not far enough behind to get inside. Remember, we want to come from in here, right? The more you can turn, look how much more room she has over her head than your hands are only here. So it's already close to being outside. So I want to get a turn and a wrist hinge, and then we stay turned. And I'll show you a good example of that so you can see what I mean by stay turned. It would be like this. I want you to see this. Look how far down his arms have come in his swing, and his back is still turned at the target and his chest is still facing the camera here. All the way down to his belt before his body's even remotely square back to the ball. Okay. Okay, by the time your arms get down there, you can see your body's already turned, and it's all body oriented, isn't it? There's where you're leaning your body and not snapping the club. Now from here, all he has to do is drop his arms, snap the club. Drop his arms, snap his wrist. Snap his wrist. And when you all looked at my swing today and said that looks easy or looks smooth, that's because the power is coming from the snap in the wrist and the hands, the arms controlling the club. Only thing your body's going to do is get out of the road. All this stuff about follow through and everything, that's all going to come in time. But I want to change the idea that your body feels right now like the upper body is controlling the golf club, when we got to get your hands and your arms to control it, okay? And as I said, don't feel alone, because there's a million new players with that same thought or feeling orientation. And already you broke some of it today, so we're going to show you even more of it tomorrow. And again, this is another swing, but you can see the club going way outside, okay? And we're going to really work hard on getting those shoulders turned early and that club to come inside, just like this. Inside. There's the shoulders turned, inside. It's a very difficult position there to hit a golf ball from consistently. So once we get the club back here with you and snap it down, we're going to be enjoying some really solid contact. Remember to keep that left hand over and practice it, okay? Take a club in your house or something and practice that left hand grip. That's going to help us a lot. Nice meeting you and good working with you. See you tomorrow.